Module 2, General Design Assignment. In this part of the video, I'm going to go through how to do relative polar coordinate entry for this assignment. So we're going to go to Content, and then Module 2, and we're going to take a look at this General Design Lab. You can either download it here in D2L, or you can go to AutoCAD. I've also added an update for the absolute coordinates for this General Design Lab. So let's take a look at it this time from here. We'll download that, open it. Alright, so essentially what we're going to do is we're going to go through how to input coordinates with relative polar coordinates. In part 1 we went through and used absolute rectangular coordinates. In part 2 we'll use relative polar coordinates. And really it's very basic. What we're going to do is we're going to give it an absolute coordinate at point 1, which is going to be x coordinate 2, y coordinate 1, and that's based on a Cartesian coordinate system from the 0 location. So if I move over 1, 2 units and up 1 unit, that's the 2, 1 coordinate. And then when we do relative polar coordinates, we tell it the distance and the angle. So the first line to the second line will be at, it looks like 3 units and an angle of 90. Let's take a look at that. So if we come over here, yes it is. So it'll be the at symbol, 3, angle 90. And then to get to the next point, point number 3, we'll say at 1, angle 0. And so it'll say at 1, angle 0. I find this to be a very useful way to enter coordinates because very often you won't have even numbers, 1, 2, you'll have 2.5, 2.3 something. And so knowing how to do relative polar coordinates is important. So let's get started. We're going to go to AutoCAD. Here's our last one that we did. I'm just going to start another one. I'm just going to say File New. I'm going to use the basic AutoCAD template. I'll say OK. I'll check the units again. I can type in units. We're going to work in decimal units. That's fine. We'll say OK. I'll update the grid to make it bigger, GRID, and we'll make the grid spacing 1. I'll also use a different color here, and so what I'll do is I'll go in here and change it to, let's go with purple. We'll say OK, and then let's go to layer properties, and let's make the line weight 0.6. Now you don't have to do this. This is just tips and tricks to make it work better for you. And so I'll close out the layer manager. We'll take a look at the interface. I have the menu bar on, and I did that by clicking here. I'm going to hide it, hide menu bar. This just gives me the tabs. I like the menu bar on, so I'm going to turn it on because that gives me the words. The other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to hit escape here to get rid of that menu, is I'm going to check these glyphs down here. And so my grid mode is on. This mode right here, object snap tracking, we'll leave that on. OSnap we'll leave on. And then annotation objects, we'll leave that alone, but we won't be using it. Sometimes, like in the last one, I had ortho on, and what that means is the lines will only draw straight, and so if I go and I try to draw an angle, it doesn't work. It'd be a little frustrating. I'll click on that line and hit the delete key, turn off ortho, and then I'm going to turn on the line weight so I can see that, and it's this glyph right here, so that when I draw lines now they appear heavier, 0.6 millimeters. And you can go through the customization settings here to enable those, and so line weight is a good thing to have on. Alright, let's get started. So we'll take a look at our assignment sheet, And we're going to start our first point at 2, 1, and then we're going to say at 3, angle 90 for our next point. So getting back to AutoCAD, I'm going to say line, and the first coordinate is going to be 2, 1, enter. And this time it came on my screen a little better. I'm going to hold the mouse key and pan it, and then I'm going to go take a look at my next coordinate. My next coordinate is at 3, angle 90. So I'm going to hold the shift key, hit the number 2 at 3, and then the less than symbol, shift in this little button here, and then that's going to be 90. And so that's going to draw a 3-unit line vertically. And there it is. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all the rest of the coordinates. I'll say at 1, angle 0, at 1, less than symbol 0, enter, at 4, less than symbol 90, and it's going to go 4 units straight up, at 1, less than symbol 180. And so think about where it's going to go as you're drawing it. Okay, if it's going to go 180, then it's going to go to the west. At 2, angle 90. At 1, angle 0. At 1, angle 90. At 2, angle 0. At 7, angle 270. At 1, angle 0. At 3, angle 270. And at 4, angle 180. And then I'm going to hit the escape key to complete that out. I'll put my name on it. I'll go to text, multi-line, and I'll just put a little box here. And we'll call this LAB2AA. And then we'll close the text editor. It's a little small, but that's fine. We'll save the file, save as, and you can see I have my last one. I'm just going to go and change it and an extra A to it. I'm going to dial it down to 2013, save it, and that completes the relative polar portion of this exercise.